And how about that? Yes, there should be some audio now. Thank you very much, my friend, Mr. Padjabuk. Okay, so I think we've got sound now. Can you hear me? I hope you can hear me. So the beginning of this is going to be sort of difficult because there's me talking. Good, that's great. Thank you very much for that. It's kind of you to give me a heads up, because I could have just carried on talking without actually realizing that nothing was coming through. Okay, so this was, I said before, but nobody heard me. It's a cloze test where you've got to choose the right word to fit in the gap. And this is an article about why people don't want to take the vaccine or don't want to take vaccines. And what we need to do is to choose between the 4 words in the brackets. So, according to a recent report by Imperial College London's Institute of Global Health Innovation, the major barriers continue to be patience, and then we've got concerns, dreads, terrors, niggles about the side effects, and fears that the vaccines haven't been adequately tested. Okay, I think this is probably getting better now. So what we need to do is we need to choose between one of these 4 words, and clearly one of them fits better. The original article here is by the BBC, and there's actually a link to it in the description, and I'll try and put one at the end in the chat as well. So, well, I hope you're all well, and I hope none of you have got this virus. I'm a bit hot and my glasses keep steaming up, which is a real shame. Well, it'll probably get better as time goes on. So we need to decide which of these words is going to fit best. I wonder if anybody knows this last word, niggles, as a verb to niggle, or as a noun, a niggle. I'm sure terrors you know, and I'm sure concerns you know, but dreads, well, dreads is more difficult. Good evening, Sherwin. It's great to see you. It's really good to have you here. Okay, so Sherwin, what we need to do is we need to find the word that best fits in the gap. Okay, so according to a recent report by Imperial College London's Institute of Global Health Innovation, the major barriers, and this is talking about why people don't want to get vaccinated, the major problems or things stopping them, continue to be patience, concerns, dreads, terrors, niggles, choose one of these, about the side effects, and fears that the vaccines haven't been adequately tested. So I have been vaccinated, but very definitely I'm concerned about the side effects, and I don't think the vaccines have been tested adequately. But clearly, if I get COVID, it's going to be the probability that something serious happens to me is much greater. So I have to forget about that, yeah, and just go ahead with the vaccine. I'm all right with it now, and clearly the short-term effects. There are not a lot of serious short-term effects to the vaccines, because millions of people have been vaccinated. So you're going to go for concerns. That's very good. Okay, concerns is the right answer, Sherwin. Congratulations. So let me put this in capitals. Concerns. So, Sherman, do you know this word niggles? Okay, or the verb to niggle? Yeah, to niggle. Okay, so to niggle means a minor complaint. Okay, so if you're niggling about something, you're pettifogging, you're complaining about things that are not so important, are not too important. Yeah? So he's always niggling about the about unimportant things. Okay, he's always niggling. He's complaining unreasonably about things that don't really matter. Yeah, they're just not important. He's niggling about things that are so unimportant that it makes me angry. He's nitpicking as well. Yeah, to nitpick. He's very sensitive about these things. Okay, and that's to niggle. Okay, a dread. Well, this is linked to the word dreadful. So I dread. I'm very afraid of. Let's see. I dread the idea of getting COVID. Splitting hairs. Yes, Juan Facundo Cotevelo do Branco. Okay, that looks like either a Brazilian or a Portuguese name. Yes, I think splitting hairs. So let's put some things here. To split hairs. To nitpick. Okay, good evening, Dennis. That's very good. Nice to have you here. Okay, now we're starting to get some people in, so why don't we move on to the next one? And whoops. So I want to put this here and just get rid of this bit at the bottom. Portuguese indeed. Okay, so I'm actually in Galicia, so I'm not that far from you. Okay, so the next paragraph says graphics showing the allied, germane, analogous, relative risks of the vaccines compared to the actual disease can provide some context. Razai suggested that we need more education about the history of the vaccine's development. Okay, so graphs showing the... Good evening, Figuera. Great to see you. No, but it's Sienna. Yes, because you put your name the other way around. So good evening, Sienna. Good to see you. So, Dennis goes for relative. Oh, it's a pleasure, Anatoly. Yeah, it's what I do, give class. Oh, so Ziana's going for relative as well. So we got 2 votes for relative. I wonder what Juan Facundo thinks about this. Okay. While we're at it, what is the meaning of germane? Germane. This is an interesting word. So something is germane. I'm sure I've got a video on the word germane. Sherwin goes for relative as well. So that's 3 votes for relative. I like that very much. Okay, so absolutely the right answer is relative. The relative risks of the vaccine, yeah, because we're looking at the the difference between the actual disease and the risks of the vaccines, and clearly the risks of the actual disease are much greater than the vaccines. So if something is germane, it means it's applicable. Yeah, it is relevant, and I think probably this word germane would fit. Graphics showing the germane risks of the vaccines would also fit. The problem is germane is quite a formal literary word, and it's not really very suitable for this context. I think if we were writing a nice essay or something like that, then germane would be a good word to use. Applicable. If something is germane, it's applicable. It's relevant. So, I don't know. Yeah, fruits and vegetables. Getting the fruits and the right fruits and vegetables is germane if you're going to cook a good meal. Okay, the allied risks. If two things are allied, then they work together. They're allies, they're friends, and this clearly can't work. And analogous. If something's analogous, this is like an analogy, and it says there they work in the same way, or the idea is parallel or similar. Look, so Dennis, you should try using the word germane. It's a good word. It originally comes from this word German, from the Germans. Maybe Germans are always very relevant. But it's a good word, and I've definitely got a video about it out there somewhere. Okay, so the relative risks of the vaccines compared to the actual disease. So let me move on to another one. Okay, and whoops, yes. The use of mRNA in vaccines has been studied for decades, for instance, with long trials, assays, dry runs, rehearsals, exams, testing its safety. This meant the technique could be quickly adapted for the pandemic. I'm not sure what the M stands for, but RNA is ribonucleic acid. This is like DNA, yeah, deoxyribonucleic acid. But okay, this is a way to make vaccines and things like that. Good evening, Tomek. Great to see you. So, Tomek, you've got to choose the ones. Sherwin says trials for sure. Huh. Well, I'm gonna need to know what the context to use all of these. Okay, Sienna says trials as well, and Tomek says trials. Okay, and Dennis says trials. We're all voting for trials. I have a feeling you ladies and gentlemen already know the answer. Okay, so with medicines you do trials. Yeah. Good evening, Kay. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. My wonderful daughter's handiwork. Okay, you're also voting for trials. Trials is definitely the right answer. Okay, yeah, medical trials. When you've got a trial, you're testing something. Yeah, you're testing to see if it's good. So what about this word assay? What does assay mean? To assay. Yeah. I'm going to also want to know what a dry run is as well. Yeah, so. Hang. Okay, good evening, Funda. Great to see you. And Mabishik. Okay, thank you very much. So at the moment we're trying to work out what this word to assay means. Dry runs is interesting as well. Dry run is a good phrase. Okay, so to assay, thank you very much, Mix. To assay is normally is to test the amount of metal or the amount of gold in a sample. So you would assay a piece of rock to find out how much gold you had in it. Wow, thank you very much, Sienna. But I believe you're in Korea, yeah, and you're learning lots of new words. So to assay is to test the content of something, find out what's in it. Okay, a dry run, this is when you practice something before doing it properly. You don't use the materials or the things that you have, yeah, but you test it. So a dry run is a bit like a rehearsal. Is to check that everybody knows what they're doing, to check that everybody knows how to do it. Yeah, because very often you you want to you want to practice something, and this is a dry run. The word dry has the idea of not using any materials, yeah, or practicing without it's a bit like not putting the explosive in something that explodes, or not putting the gunpowder in in something, and you're just testing that everything's working, and that's a dry run. And then a rehearsal, well, normally you have rehearsals in the theatre, or maybe maybe when you're making a film as well. But to rehearse, a rehearsal is a bit like a dry run. Normally with the dry run you do all of it, but maybe with rehearsals you only do a small bit of it. And then exams, well, exams, I'm sure you all know about exams. Okay, so yeah, they've had long trials using this one. So let's try the next one. It'll take a second to appear, and I think this one's reasonably easy. Well, we'll see. So none of the technology that has been used would in any way, there's a word, in any way be harmful. So, be harmful, because we've used these technologies in other spaces, spots, positions, provinces, areas, in healthcare and research. So Mix and Tomic say areas. Juan Facundo says areas. And Sienna says areas. And we'll wait for a few more to come in, but you're all of you pretty convinced by this. Okay, so let's see. So these are healthcare and research. So let's see. Let's get rid of a few of these. So provinces. A province is an area of land and is clearly not the right one. Okay, Duck Pond says areas, and that looks, I think, like more Korean areas. Other branches. Yes, that's a good example. So let's see. How do I say your name? Elia, I would say. Elia says branches, and branches is certainly a good synonym. In other spots, a spot, Ilya. Okay, I didn't do badly. Thank you, Juan. Okay, in other spots, a spot. Thank you, Ilya. A spot is normally a physical place. There's a beauty spot next to the river where I go for a picnic. In other spaces, no, it's other areas, yeah? Areas of work, yeah. Areas. Whoops, I need to get this. Okay, it's Korean writing. So, areas is the right answer. So let's go to the next one. Ooh. Thank you, Vlad. Areas, definitely. And I've got to just, yes, that's it. Sarah Jones, a doctoral researcher who co-led the IGHI report, suggests a targeted approach will be necessary. I would urge governments to stop thinking they can reach the mass of alcoves, crannies, niches, cubicles, caves out there with one mass market vaccine message, and work more creatively with many effective communication partners, she says. Okay, good evening, Yvonne. Yeah, I'm glad you love my videos. So Facundo goes for niches. These are all words that mean some sort of space. Okay, so we got here alcoves, crannies, niches, cubicles, and caves. This question is harder, yes, because I think many of you don't know all of the words, or maybe one, or maybe you do. So let's see. These are talking about different types of space, and name goes for niches as well. I remember using the word niche to refer to market-related topics. Okay, Sienna, at least you're being honest about it. Facundo, you're absolutely right about using niches related to marketing. Niche marketing talks about marketing to very small groups of people who like certain things. Yeah. So let's see. Let me give some. No idea, duck pond either. So the answer, well done, Facundo, and well done name, is niches. Yeah. Yes, that's why I actually had this earlier, because 10 p.m. in India is much better than midnight, which I very often have. Okay. An alcove is normally an area beside a room. Yeah, it's where the wall is recessed, goes back a little bit. So, or maybe an alcove is like a place in a wall where you can put a statue. A little bit has been cut out. Yeah, so yeah, there's an alcove beside the door, or beside the fireplace there is an alcove. An alcove is very similar to this word niche. Okay, I think you would put your a statue in an alcove or in a niche. Okay, a niche we also use for a special place, something that is very specialized. So as I said before, we have this phrase, niche marketing. Yeah, which means you try to market things to certain people who like that thing, and that's the idea of a niche. So a niche is a special separate place, or a special group of people. Okay, a cranny is like a little crack in a rock. A cranny is a very, very small space. So maybe there was a spider in the cranny. We have this phrase, I looked in every nook and cranny, every place. I'm from the UK. Yes, I definitely am. Although I don't live there now. Okay, so a cranny is like a crack in the rock. A cubicle is a small room, a really, really, really small room. For example, I guess you could call a telephone box is a cubicle. Or maybe when you use the toilet, yeah, you go into a cubicle. Yeah, so a cubicle is just a tiny little room, yeah, which is separated off. Yeah, maybe the roof is still part of another room, but a cubicle, it's like a tiny little separate space. And then a cave, well, a cave is where cavemen used to live, and a cave is a huge cranny. So, niche, yeah, and so I would urge governments to stop thinking they can reach the mass of niches, of small, special places or people with special ideas with one mass market vaccine message. Okay, so one size fits all doesn't work, yeah? And work more creatively with communication partners, she says. So let's try the next one. And that might involve closer collaboration, combination, synergy, symbiosis with the influencer role models within each community, she says, who can provide consistent and accurate information about the vaccine's risks and benefits. So what they're suggesting here is to work with influencers to get them to give people information, and normally people trust what influencers say. So Mix goes for collaboration, Tomek goes for collaboration. Okay, so we got some good words here. I like this word synergy, and I like this word symbiosis as well. I think synergy is more a business word, and symbiosis is a word to do with biology. So Sienna goes for collaboration. And well, let's see what other people choose. So Ilya goes for collaboration bar none. I like that phrase, bar none, Ilya. Yeah? So none of them are going to get there. And Duck Pond, collaboration, but you don't know the word symbiosis. I'll explain symbiosis in a second. Let's see if we can get some more words. Well, I think I'm going to start by explaining symbiosis for you. Symbiosis is normally something in biology or the animal kingdom where two animals live together and each of them provides something for the other one. So, for example, in the sea, there are sometimes these very, very little tiny fish that clean the skin of a shark, or they go inside the shark's mouth and they eat all of the little animals that are growing there. And the shark doesn't kill this animal. It doesn't eat it because this animal is beneficial for it. It's cleaning it. And this little fish has the advantage of being protected by a shark because anything else that comes there is eaten. And that's the idea of symbiosis. This is two creatures working together, and each one provides the other with something it needs and something it can't provide. And this is the idea of symbiosis. Two different things, each giving each other a benefit. So collaboration is the right answer, definitely. Collaboration. So a parasite is not, well, a parasite could live in symbiosis. I'm trying, well, let's see. Because if the parasite also does something very good for the person, then it could be symbiosis, but normally it's not necessarily a parasite. It's doing two good things. So can we use symbiosis for humans? Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe the bacteria that are in our stomachs, we have symbiosis with them. Yeah, because they get food because we eat it, and the bacteria help us digest it. But symbiosis is it's a word used in biology. Yeah, is two different creatures helping each other. So what about this word synergy? Okay, synergy, this is a word they use in business. It's when you combine two things and the thing that you get in the end is more than each of the individual parts. Okay, so companies like to try and find synergies. If they merge or join with another company, maybe they get synergy, they make extra profit because they are doing two parts of a process instead of one. So I think synergy is the idea of 1 + 1 = 3. Yeah. So synergy is you're putting two things together, and together these two things are more than the individual, the sum of the individual things on their own. Okay, so synergy, working together. Yeah, I think this synergy, I think this SY bit is the same as the symbiosis SY. Okay, so synergy, working together to make something more. But I think humans working together is very often creates synergy. Synergy is normally a business word. Synergy is putting different things together and getting more than you had before. Yeah, and something that's more productive. Yeah, so if you and I work together, cooking in the kitchen, maybe we get more done because we help each other in the difficult things, and by helping each other, then we end up doing things faster than we could do them individually on our own. Okay, so everyone's going for engaging. I better read this. However, they choose to deliver the information health services need to I'm sorry, I read this wrong. However, it doesn't matter in which way. However, they choose to deliver the information. Health services need to make it clear that they are partaking, undertaking, touching, engaging in an open dialogue, Razai says, rather than simply dismissing them out of hand. Okay, so yes, Sienna says engaging, Duck Pond says engaging, Korean says engaging. Good evening, Roland, great to see you. And Tomek says engaging as well. Okay, so to engage in a dialogue, it's definitely the right word. To engage in an open dialogue, to take part in. We can also use the word engage or engaged, meaning that something's in use. So the toilet's engaged, somebody's using it. Engaging, absolutely, Roland. So to partake, I think most normally you partake in food. Yes, Ilya, definitely. So would you like to partake of this meal? To partake, to have someone. To undertaking or to undertake is to take on a project, to agree to do it, to say that you're going to do it. And then touching in an open dialogue, no. Also, they are, if you look at this, they are undertaking an open dialogue, but they're engaging in an open dialogue, so the in is also important. Okay, and I think there's one or two more, but we're getting near the end of this. We have to listen to people's concerns. We have to listen to people's concerns. Admit, agree, yield, acknowledge them, and give information so they can make an informed decision. Okay, so yeah, we have to listen to people's concerns, say we understand them, and give information so that they can make an informed decision. Absolutely, Roland, to undertake a project. So everybody here is going for to acknowledge. Okay, yes. And Sienna, Duck Pond, Roland, Sherwin, Isha, our Korean friend Tomek, and Ilya, and Malak as well. Yes, acknowledge is the right word. So, ACKNOWLEDGE. That was supposed to be in capitals. Yeah. ACKNOWLEDGE. That's better. Okay, we have to acknowledge people's concerns. Yeah, we say, okay, I understand that this is something that bothers you. Okay, to yield. Well, first it would be yield to. So to yield to is to surrender, to give in to them. Yeah. To admit them. I think here we would say to admit that they are true. And to agree, well, it would to be agree with them, meaning we would have the same opinion. Okay, to yield is to surrender. Let's see, there's a road sign that's a big triangle, and it's got red round the outside, and it's white, and in the middle it says yield. That's in the US. In the UK it says give way. So I had to yield to pressure, to yield, to give in, to stop resisting. Yeah, I always yield to temptation. I give in, I stop. I don't fight against it. So to yield. Notice yield also has another meaning. To yield, to give, to produce. So the yield of an investment is the percentage return that you get on an investment. Or if you plant tomato seeds and look after them, eventually they will yield tomatoes. Okay, for example, for instance, I think they're the same. Yeah. An example of something is an instance of something. An instance is when something happens. Okay, to admit is to either agree something is true. Yeah, I admit that you're right, or to admit that you've done something. To acknowledge means to recognize that somebody feels in a certain way. Yeah, but you don't necessarily agree with it. So I acknowledge that you are afraid of this, but I'm not afraid of it. Oh, I like that. Notice Ilya, to exceed to. Yeah, but to exceed to is to agree, whereas to acknowledge is to say yes, yes, this exists, but maybe it's not the right thing. Yeah. So he admits his mistake. Yeah. And in some ways, I acknowledge my mistake. I say that. So I say that it's a mistake. I acknowledge the fact that you think it's a mistake, but I don't agree because I don't think it's a mistake. The boss has finally acknowledged my hard work. He said yes, it does exist. Okay. So I agree with you. Yes, you're right. I acknowledge what you say. I hear it and understand it, but I don't necessarily agree with it. Okay, so let's continue. Wow, I think this is probably the last one. Anyway, let's see. Okay, and I've lost the very bottom of this. Saleska agrees that it's essential to engage, here we've got this engage, in a two-way conversation. And that's something we could all learn as we discuss these issues with our friends and family. Being respectful and recognizing their concerns. I think that could actually be more important than just spitting it out. So, acknowledge, to recognize it's real, but it might. So I acknowledge their concerns, than just spitting it out, just saying it directly, spitting out the material, news, truth, facts, or statistics. She says, a lot of the time, it's more about the personal connection than it is about the actual information that you provide. Okay, so we're all going for facts here. Yes, Tomek's gone for facts, Sienna's gone for facts, Isha's gone for facts, Duckpond's gone for facts, our Korean friend has gone for facts, and I think we're probably going to get some more that agree with that as well. Yes, because let's see. The truth. I guess facts are the truth. Spitting out the news. Let's see. The news could work, but here we're talking about the details. They're talking about what is more dangerous, the real situation. And news is normally to do about things that happen. So I think maybe yes, Sherwin, I think news could work, but facts is a better word. And then spitting out the truth. Truth doesn't work. Okay, so the truth. Let's see, truth, it could work again. But normally we're going to use this word truth when maybe there are things that are lies as well, because a fact is definitely the truth. But notice, a fact is more about information, and news is about information. Truth is talking about whether it's true or not, whether or not somebody's inventing things. And let's see, a scientific fact, but a philosophical truth. Yeah? And I think that's why a fact is better, because I think in science itself there are no truths. In science you can only prove that something doesn't work. Facts are based on something physical. Yeah, whereas the truth is more subjective, because what I think is the truth, you may not think is the truth. If you ask enough people their opinions, you will get many different truths. Okay, so, and I have a feeling that's the end. Yeah, that's the end of this article. My, oh my, oh my, oh my. Let's see if I can find the link that goes with this. I've got it. I've definitely got it somewhere. Okay, so well, let me put this here, and bear with me just a second, and I will find the link for the article. It's already in the details of this live stream, but it's always a good place to put it here at the end. Here it is, and copy and paste. So this okay, tangible. I like that, Sherwin. Yeah, I think facts are more tangible. Yeah, whereas what is the truth and what's not the truth, it's more possible to argue about that. Okay, so that's all for today. We've finished this article finally. I hope this was to make up for not appearing on Sunday. I'm very, very well, thank you, Pompush Pam. With a bit of luck, we will have another more traditional live stream on Sunday. okay? But I will need to program that. So very good. Thank you all for coming. You've been a wonderful group. Yeah, you got almost all of the right answers. There was only one question here that was sort of difficult. This one about alcove, niche, cranny, cave. Yeah. So thanks all for coming and stay safe. You've been a wonderful group. So bye for now.